Hey guys, the movie review for The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, when I went into the theatre, I had not very high expectations for this film. I had very low expectations for this film. I really enjoyed the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Not so much the third film, but the trilogy overall was fantastic. The, Sam Raimi one. But for this film, as I said, I went to the theatre not expecting much. The cinema was actually quite full. It wasn't full to the rim, but a lot of seats were filled. And it was so cute when I walked in. This little kid, he was wearing a Spider-Man outfit. He's like, yeah. And that was so cute. But anyway, though, when me and my girlfriend went in to see this film, she said she wanted to see this film and that she didn't have high expectations for it either. She said that she just wanted to see it just because she felt like seeing it. And I didn't mind seeing it. It's a film that I wanted to see, but I could have waited till it came on Blu-ray to see it. The only reason I would see this film is probably because of Emma Stone. She's a great actress. Now, that's what I want to talk about in this review, Emma Stone's character. Her character wasn't written well. I don't think her character was written very well. Her name was, what was her name? Something Stacy. I can't remember her first name. Something Stacy. But, her character wasn't written very well. I don't think the character development in this film was very well done. You got the general idea that Peter Parker's family left him, and that, his granddad gets killed and he wants to try and find the killer. And I'm just going to say here, the storyline from the first Spider-Man film, like the Sam Raimi one, is pretty much identical to the Amazing Spider-Man storyline, only they've replaced the Green Goblin with the Lizard, and there's no Harry in this film. Everything else is the same. I mean, they've got different actors and actresses, but it's exactly the same as the original Spider-Man movie. And I must say the first half hour of this film was absolutely amazing. I loved the first half hour, but the middle section for about an hour to hour and a half, no, it was about an hour, was so boring. It was boring as hell. They could have cut heaps out of the middle section. The last probably half hour, 45 minutes, I really loved. The bit where I really kicked in and where I really started liking it was when the Lizard came out of the toilet at the school and it was running around with Spider-Man and they were fighting each other. That after that point, like when that started, the rest of the movie was fantastic. Now, a few things that I want to point out. There was one scene when Peter Parker and the scientist, Dr. Kirk Collins, they were working together on, the genes, how to transfer a lizard genes into a rabbit cell, and they had the big, hologram thing in the middle, and they saw it keep growing. If you've ever seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. When Peter Parker, he got the phone call from his granddad, and he hung up on him, he actually pushed the green button instead of the, red button, like the red call button. He actually pressed the green call button, which means answer. I was like, massive blooper. Also, when Peter Parker first had his costume, it was pretty much just like a bit of mesh over his head with his sunglasses. And when you saw him walking down the street with it, I was cracking up laughing. I was the only one in the cinema laughing and everyone was staring at it. I couldn't stop cracking up. It was just hilarious how cheesy and corny they made the first outfit, and I was absolutely laughing so hard that I was actually starting to cry. And everyone was just looking at me like, what the fuck, it's not funny. I found it hilarious, and I was just cracking up. Also, do you know how you saw in the trailer where the tower fell onto the other tower and you saw Spider-Man, he leaped onto the building and he sort of fell off, and he was hanging to the side of the building? When the tower was falling, he jumped onto the building and then it hit and then he fell. But when he landed on the building, he landed feet first, he landed straight up, vertically. That's gonna fucking break your legs, how high he jumped from. That's gonna break your leg, no matter how strong you are, unless you're the Hulk. It's gonna break your legs, mate. It's impossible to do that. Also, the little tuny thing on his wrist that he can spit webs out of, that's not how I remember the original Spider-Man. I remember he actually came out of his skin, you know, so that was a bit stupid. I didn't really like that. Also, there was a few things cut out of the movie for the Australian version, like in the trailer, didn't where you saw him throw the football back and it bounced off the goal and dented it, and then the coach was like, hey, you want to play football? And he's like, too dangerous. That wasn't in the Australian version. There was a few things that wasn't in there, you know. But the basic storyline of this film was that, I'm not even going to say it, most people should know this, that Peter Parker's, when he was little, his parents left. Well, in the original one, yeah, in the original one they left. Oh, sorry, that they left, and you know, he's forced to live with his grandparents, Uncle Ben. His uncles and aunts, his Uncle Ben and his auntie Anne, you know, Mary Ann or whatever it was, and you know, it's exactly the same as the original one, as I said. So Uncle Ben does die. It's not a spoiler, because you know, it's exactly the same on exactly the same line as the original Spider-Man. Everything happens that you saw in the original one, except it's a giant lizard, not the Green Goblin. So yeah, you got to see Uncle Ben die. He was played by Martin Sheen. That was a really good scene. I really liked that scene. That was probably the only scene in the middle section which I liked. Must say, Martin Sheen did an excellent job as Uncle Ben. They picked the right, you know, the right actor to play his part. I reckon they picked a great cast. The only people I didn't like was main character Andy Garfield, whatever, however you pronounce his last name. I call him Andy Garfield, because I keep thinking of the little green cat Garfield. And Emma Stone, I like all her movies, but she didn't really. It's not that she didn't suit the character didn't suit the movie. You know, the character wasn't written very well. The outfit that they chose for her, you know, the goody two-shoes, and you didn't get really much of a background for her, you know. You sort of got the vibe that she was rich, but you didn't, and that she had a pompous family, and that her dad was a cop. And that was it. You didn't really get the full picture of her background, and I know it's not based around her, but they could have given a bit more information on, you know, her background. But, some other things, you know, the special effects in this were, you know, reasonable. You can't really go much further with special effects these days, because no movie's going to give you that wow effect anymore. You know, I think they've reached their limit now on special effects, and, you know, with Avatar and the Avengers, I don't think they can go much further than that, and I think they've reached their boundary of how far they can go in special effects, you know. I mean, I'm going to be surprised if they can do any better, but there's not a whole lot of CGI in this, you know. There's a bit of CGI, you know, but there's not too much. I wouldn't, when you walk into cinema, don't expect a full-on CGI film. Because, I mean, yeah, there was quite a bit in this film, but it's a 2.5 hour long movie, and probably 10-20 minutes of this film is CGI. So it's not like the Avengers where 80% of the film is CGI, you know, or Avatar, which is 100% CGI. You know, but overall, this film, it is an okay film. The start, first probably half hour, and the end probably 45 minutes was the best. The middle section, probably an hour, boring as fuck. Boring as fuck. There's a few good scenes in there, but I really wouldn't say it was an outstanding best film of the year blockbuster movie, you know. It was an okay film. I can watch it again. It was better than what I was thinking it was going to be, you know. When I saw the trailer for it, I thought it was just going to be a big pile of shit, you know. But it was actually better than I thought, you know. But yeah, you know, there was a good scene in here where they were in the school and Spider-Man and the Lizard were fighting, and you know, one of the bits in there, the old guy put on his you know, headphones, like they were the big ones, and he didn't know anything was going on, and everything went silent, the music started, you could just hear the music, and then you saw the Spider-Man and the Lizard fighting in the background, and you couldn't hear them, and I thought that was actually quite funny. That was actually quite good. And you didn't even notice they were there. But, you know, the the scientist, Curtis Collins, he pretty much is working on, you know, an experiment, because lizards, they can regrow their tails and everything, so they're trying to get, you know, their DNA and try and put it into animals and stuff so they can regrow their limbs. And because this guy, I can't remember what his name was, he does, you don't get to see him, but he needs a new body part, and they're going to inject him with it. But that's why they're doing it. But you can call him Dr. Curtis Collins. He's only got one arm, the other one's been cut off, and he injects himself with it, and the arm ends up growing into like a lizard arm, and then he gets the side effects and he turns into a lizard. That's how he becomes a lizard. There was one bit on the bridge where the lizard was running and he was chucking all the cars and everything, and that scene went for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and then he just sort of crawled away without any explanation. He just crawled off the bridge. You know, I don't know. And this one had a different sort of side to how Peter Parker got bitten. Like in the original Sam Raimi's one, they were all out in the open, like the group of students, and one of the spiders got out of the cage. But in this one, you know, Peter Parker, he snuck into a science lab to talk to Dr. Collins about his dad, what his dad was like, and he stole an ID badge and everything, and he sort of snuck away from the group, and he was snooping around, and he went into this sort of cage arena thing, and he was looking around, and it had all spiders that were making, like, you know, webs and everything. It was obviously another science experiment that they were doing, and he pretty much flicked one of the webs, and all the spiders fell, and they were falling on his head, and he was brushing them all off, and he walked out. You thought, okay, he hasn't gotten bitten yet, and he went back to the group, and Emma Stone's character saw him, and he started to talk to her, you know, and then one was crawling around the back of his head, and it bit him, and yeah. So, I must say, out of 10 stars, I could probably give this film a 5.5 out of 10 stars. I'm not going to get any more than that. It's a solid 5.5 out of 10. This movie is worth going to see in the cinema. I would say, you know, if you can get a cheap ticket, go see the cinema if you can get a cheap ticket like I did. I got an $8.50 movie ticket because our cinema has specials on school holidays and on everything. Everyone gets $8.50 movie tickets, and that was pretty good. So that's pretty much why I saw it, because I got the ticket cheap. So yeah, me and my girlfriend, we enjoyed it. It was a good film. There's a few bits where we laughed. You weren't meant to laugh. It was meant to be taken seriously. But there was a few funny parts. Now, there was one part that was meant to be taken seriously. Spiderman was in his costume. It was near the end, and he was talking to Emma Stone's character on the phone, and she hung up on him, and he's like, "Mother fubber, she hung up on me." I found that a bit hilarious. Now also, at the end of this film, the credits started, and everyone walked out except 2 people, and then another scene started. I'm not going to say what that is. It's done in all Marvel movies now, so if you walk out when the credits start, you're going to miss this thing, because in every Marvel movie they have a scene just after the credits. Like in the Avengers, they had a scene halfway through the credits, and then there was another scene right at the end of the credits, which I missed, because I saw the scene halfway through the credits, and then they started back up again, and we left. And then I found out that there was another scene right at the end, which I saw online, which was them just all around the table, you know, just eating. They weren't saying anything, they were just sitting around the table. But in this one, there was a scene in the Spider-Man movie, there was a scene halfway through the credits, which we stayed for. We didn't stay all the way at the end of the credits, but I'm sure there wasn't going to be another scene, you know. But yeah, 5.5 out of 10 stars. That's what it's worth. It's not an amazing film. I didn't see it in 3D, because the cinema that I went to didn't do 3D. It doesn't do 3D at all. And that's understandable, because they only do $8.50 movie tickets. But, you know, I knew my expectations weren't going to be high, but I got more than I wanted out of this film. So if you were like me and you thought the film was going to be a big pile of shit, you know, go in there, you're going to get more than you're going to expect, you know. But anyway, though, it's a good film, worth seeing in the theatre, and, you know, I'm not trying to say that this film's absolutely shit. It's the worst film I've seen, because I've seen worse. Yes, Transformers 3. This was an okay film. I can't see myself putting it in the top 10 worst films I've ever seen. It's not going to go in there or anything, but, you know, I did consider it, but it's not as bad as I was saying, you know. I'll give it another try. I'll go see it again when it comes out on Blu-ray. But anyway, though, thank you a lot for watching, and I hope to see you on my next review. Bye. Oh, and rate, subscribe, and comment.